Wow. What's with this guy? I will be at KSHB 41 at 10 to 7 on your television screen, and then I will be there after the game on your television screen if you want to stick around for the post game.
He was calling you a degenerate, saying you're just going to call it quits on the bye week before the game even starts, Pete.
Yeah, I will be in the bed no later than 10 p.m. on Saturday night. We got a big morning on Sunday.
Now, wait, let's talk bye week. What are you going to play for the bye week? I imagine that week looks a little different?
Yeah, celebrating a ripe young 35th birthday during the bye. I've had a few times in my career where the bye week falls on my birthday, so I'm excited about that. Taking a little trip with the girlfriend, but I mean, we got a huge game before that, so focusing on Sunday at this stage.
Yeah, man. I mean, does it seem like as we get closer to kickoff, there's even more of a realization just how massive this game is from a seeding perspective? But I mean, the Chiefs are truly in the international spotlight this weekend, and what that even can mean long term for Chiefs fans.
Yeah, I relate it to the Chicago Bulls of the 90s and the 2000s. This is a team that is, I think, on the cusp of something really special. I know, we've disagreed about the dynasty thing before, but if you want to say they have a dynasty or they're on the cusp of one, either way, they've got the attention of the nation and the world. And I think you're starting to see probably fans in other cities and in other countries just becoming Chiefs fans because Patrick Mahomes and this team has just been so fun to watch. And I think there's a huge difference between like watching the Premier League in Kansas City and actually being able to go over there and take in a game, or when the Premier League comes here. And so it does suck to an extent that this game with Tyreek Hill playing the Chiefs is not happening in KC, but I think in the greater picture of the game developing worldwide, it's going to be a very cool moment.
Pete, obviously a big factor in this game and whether or not the Chiefs can get the win is how well they hold up defensively against the number one offense in the NFL. What's the scoop on Willie Gay? A couple of days ago, I think it was Adam Teicher asked about an IR stint. Had us a little worried, but now he's made the trip and he practiced at least in a limited capacity. Is he going to be available for Sunday?
Yeah, I did get to see him on Thursday before they left. There was a brief viewing, and he looked to be okay. I mean, we only get about 15 minutes out of practice. Obviously, I wasn't over there today for that practice, but I think the fact that he made the trip and he's moving and trying to do something leads me to believe there's a chance here. The injury report hasn't come out yet, but I imagine this will be one of those situations where he's questionable, and they're going to see where it's at. What a huge boost it would be. You can make an easy case that that is your fastest linebacker, and just given all the preset motion that the Dolphins can do, just given how fast Raheem Mostert is, I mean, it just would be a immense boost to that second level if Gay's able to play.
Yeah, we talk a lot about Tyreek Hill and how explosive he is. I'm glad you brought up Mostert because I feel like as much attention, and understandably so, Tyreek Hill is going to get in this game. I mean, this rushing attack, they can run all over you if you don't pay much attention and don't actually take them seriously there.
Yeah, and I think it's a lot of the scrimmage play. If you look at the games in which the Dolphins lost, it's just beating up their receivers and not making it easy for them to get quick releases. And I think you're going to start to see that at the beginning of the game. The Chiefs are going to try to get hands on this press man type of strategy. And it was telling me, we got a chance to talk to Justin Reed before he left in the locker room on Thursday, and a big question is, well, how do you stop Tyreek Hill? I mean, very, very forward. He just said, we got to stop the run first. And so those big plays, they're more apt to happen on second and short, third and short. If you're able to have a negative play first and second down, this is basic football, but it's even more emphasized in this game. It's tougher for them to beat you because you can have help over the top. And so huge focus by the Chiefs to stop the run game early, and I think you're going to try to see them rallying to the ball. And, as we mentioned with Willie Gay, just a boost there if he's able to get on the field and play.
Pete, it's easy to do, all right, Mahomes versus Tua, especially because Tua's leads the league in passing and they're the number one offense and the return of Tyreek. What about Andy versus McDaniel? We haven't made it about that in any way. Where do you think McDaniel deserves to be in the conversation amongst the best coaches in the NFL as it sits right now?
Yeah, he's certainly among those breakout candidates. I believe it's something that came from that San Francisco system, and they've just really loaded him up with talent. And it's been impressive to see the different looks that he utilizes to get them open in space. It reminds me of a lot of those Legion of Zoom years with the Chiefs and Sammy and Tyreek when he was here, and just what they've been able to do with Waddle and all those offensive weapons. To me, it's made the task of defending the Dolphins daunting, and I don't think the Chiefs have lost sight of that. I think they know what they're up against, and I know the Chiefs' offense continues to get a bad rap, and fans are upset they didn't make a move, but very quietly here, I've probably beaten this to a pulp here, and then people are sick of it, but the Chiefs have a top 5 offense themselves. I mean, they could certainly be playing a little better. But should they be able to curb this talented Dolphins offense to an extent, I think they're going to have enough firepower to win.
Do you think, knowing the struggles they've had in the red zone, though, that if I told you this game could either be played 38-35, in that realm, or 24-21, which one's better for the Chiefs? Because I certainly think it's not normally how we would think, but given how good their defense is, I think you'd prefer the 24-21.
It's been a long time since, you went into a game where the opposing offense is clearly better than Kansas City. So I would agree with you. And that's not to say that the Chiefs can't win.
Sure.
Just the way that they're playing now with the yardage, and you sometimes have to play that type of game that you kind of saw Denver do to the Chiefs last week. I think it is a scenario type of game where if you're able to get a 7-point, 10-point lead, maybe you change up your strategy a little bit. Like maybe the Chiefs become this defense running team. That's what you're up against. And look, Andy Reid knows that, and probably make certain decisions in certain places maybe you wouldn't make against other teams, and anything to win the game.
Pete, is there, we've all bought into different receivers at different time. His was Richie James, yours was Sky Moore. I think I was also on Sky Moore. Other people with Tony. Is there any reason to think improvements coming out of Sky or Tony, or should we just let that ship sail?
Well, just looking at the snap counts, I can tell you what the Chiefs believe, right? They believe no improvement is coming from Tony, or that they're just trying to save his snaps to make sure that he doesn't get injured. It's got to be one or the other. Either way, just on how low it's been a player that they obviously don't believe can turn the corner and trust at this stage for whatever reason, whereas Sky Moore continues to get these snaps. In going to training camp, you guys got to watch camp too. So I'm not alone here as we have this conversation. Sky Moore looks great in training camp. And I know that training camp doesn't necessarily correlate to regular season. I mean, we have seen that now. But I didn't just watch nothing. I didn't watch this rapport with Patrick Mahomes. I didn't just watch him not being able to beat the opposing defenders in camp and gain separation. I think it's been a little bit slumpy for him in sophomore. It's a lot of pressure, just considering that he had all these promises to be the next guy for Patrick Mahomes, and just hasn't worked out that way. But it's a long season, so I would say I'm more apt to say Sky can turn the corner than Tony, just based upon what the team is doing snap-wise.
I know no one seems to have this answer. I think you're like the third person I've asked it to, Pete. But is there a line we can draw that explains what happened from when the Chiefs were talking about Kadarius Toney like he was a star, future number 1 wide receiver, to how they're using him now?
It probably was those first 5 minutes of training camp when he was injured. And it was downplayed. And coaches are going to say what they have to say. And, I'm not blaming Andy Reid for it. But, one of my questions as soon as Tony was injured and you weren't sure when he was going to be back was, does this change how you have to operate with this team? Because very clearly they were making him a point of emphasis and going to be the guy for this team heading into the year. And then when you lose him for a month of training camp, and this is the rigorous, well-known Andy Reid training camp where you're installing all the plays. We're always talking about the volume they install and just the amount of plays that they go through. And he misses every rep. I think it was that moment where you said, well, we can't necessarily, he can be a role player for us, but we can't just build our whole offensive system and scheme around him. Plus, how many games has he missed in the first 2 years of his career, both in New York and Kansas City? And so maybe at that stage, you could say, well, we're going to use him in certain packages, but he can't necessarily be that guy for us. I'm talking to folks with the team. The guy right now, wide receiver-wise, is Rashee Rice, and that is someone that they believe they can build around both now in this season and in the future, whereas it's just vastly different than everything you heard all offseason about KT being that number 1 guy. It has definitely transitioned to Rashee Rice.
So Sunday morning, you got like a special German spread going on, where you got breakfast. What's the plan Sunday morning?
I told you I'm working the television pregame. So
I don't have a spread.
Is Aaron Ladd not taking care of you?
Yeah, I hope so. I don't know. He doesn't ever bring anything like Rob Collins does to Club 610. So
right.
I don't have my hopes up here. Okay. I might have to just go to Lamar Donuts early for these guys and make sure we have some kind of sustenance ahead.
Do you want me to make you a German baked good, Pete, and bring it to the station on Sunday? Yeah,
you could take it to my hotel room at midnight if you need to as well. If that's something you want to deliver tonight or tomorrow night.
You're staying in a hotel?
I mean, Cody does make hotel deliveries. We've seen that in the past.
Also to people who work at 41.
I'm just joking about your track record, but yeah, any baked goods we'll take at KSHB 41.
All right, yeah. For a second, we were like, "Wait, Pete, they're putting up you in a hotel the night before to make sure you get there on time." Like, what's the story?
No, I'll be at my place ahead of the game.
All right, man. Enjoy the weekend. And I don't know if we'll check in with you next week or not, but happy early 35th.
Oh, thank you very much, guys. Take care.
There you go. That's Pete Sweeney, our Chiefs insider from Arrowhead Pride.
That's too early for a happy.
He brought it up, not me.
Dude, it's a week away.
He brought it up.
Early.
He brought it up.
Early.
Did he bring it up? Did he?
He'll be on the show next Friday.
He may not
on
be.
His
He's
birthday.
out of town.
Nah, it's already confirmed.
He's out of town.
He's
I won't be here next Friday, so you do whatever you got to do.
He'll be on the show.
Okay.
The reason why I know Pete is out of town and that it's his birthday next Friday is because I had originally offered to say, hey, you want to come in for an hour, Pete?
Mm-hmm.
He said, I cannot. And then he told me his exact birthday plans, which I guess I probably shouldn't read his exact birthday plans.
But he told us his birthday next week, so
his
I said
permission.
happy birthday. I won't have a chance to talk to him before, so I said happy birthday.
You have his cell phone number.
But I just said happy birthday because he brought it up during the interview, you know?
Okay. He's just going to get some donuts, I guess, and catch Pete over on KSHP 41.
That's exactly right.